A stark warning from Moscow as tensions rise between Washington and Tehran. A senior Russian lawmaker says any U.S. attack on Iran could push the world toward a far wider war. Vladimir Jabarov, first deputy chair of the Russian Federation Council's Foreign Affairs Committee, warned that a U.S. invasion or missile strikes on Iran would be a direct path to World War III. Speaking in Moscow, Jabarov said Russia hopes the United States does not resort to military action, cautioning that the consequences would extend far beyond Iran. He warned that any Iranian retaliation could engulf neighboring countries, saying many nations across the region would suffer if conflict erupts. Jabarov added that Israel and several Arab states are also opposed to a military operation against Iran. He further warned that Iran has already threatened to block the Strait of Hormuz if attacked, a move that could halt global oil trade. Jabarov said such a scenario would pose a severe threat to the world economy, calling it a crisis that could be nearly impossible to contain.
Our government officials and political experts are dedicating a considerable amount of their attention to the situation concerning Iran. And one can only sincerely hope that the United States will not resort to such drastic actions as a full-scale invasion of Iran or the launching of any kind of extensive bombing and missile strikes, because such a course of action would undoubtedly lead directly to a third world war. It's one thing when they kidnapped the president of Venezuela. Yes, that was a relatively minor operation, but this is a massive 80 million strong nation, incredibly well armed and fully equipped. If there are repercussions, then many surrounding countries could also suffer. The same Israel and the countries of the Arab world, they are also categorically opposed to any military operation in Iran. Moreover, Iran, if necessary, has already threatened to block the Strait of Hormuz, which would effectively halt all oil trade. This is such a massive problem for the entire world, if not to say that it could simply become completely insurmountable. Therefore, here, step-by-step conflicts could begin, which would inevitably lead to nuclear catastrophe. I am not at all sure that solely with missile strikes and bombings it is possible to resolve the Iranian problem for the Americans. A ground operation is necessary in any scenario, but will the Americans be able to conduct a ground operation in Iran? I don't think that this will be some kind of easy walk. Iranians are a courageous people with a tremendous history, who know how to defend themselves and to protect their homelands. And I think that just yesterday, information emerged that American and Iranian working groups have reportedly started making contact. And I truly hope they won't let the situation escalate into a war.
The warning comes amid escalating tensions between Tehran and Washington, driven by increased U.S. military deployments and repeated threats of possible action against Iran. On Sunday, Iran's supreme leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei warned that any U.S. military strike would spiral into a regional war. He said if the United States starts a conflict this time, it will not remain limited. U.S. President Donald Trump responded by saying Washington would find out whether Khamenei's warning proves true if Iran fails to strike a nuclear deal. Meanwhile, Iran's Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi reiterated that Tehran's missile and defensive capabilities are not negotiable. At the same time, he said Iran remains open to serious diplomacy as long as its legal rights and security concerns are respected. As warnings sharpen and diplomacy hangs in the balance, global powers are increasingly framing any misstep over Iran as a risk not just to the Middle East, but to the world.
Iran issues a stark warning to Washington. Tehran says if Iran is threatened, no one in the region will be safe. A senior Iranian military commander has issued a sharp warning to the United States, saying the Middle East cannot remain secure if Iran's safety is endangered. Qumars Haidari, deputy commander of Iran's Central Khatam al-Anbiya headquarters, said Tehran will never accept a situation where Iran is unsafe while others in the region are secure. Haidari warned that if Washington threatens Iran's security, countries supporting the United States, including Israel, would also lose security. He said such forces would be defeated and pushed out of the region, underscoring Iran's readiness to respond with force. The Iranian commander also urged the United States to act wisely, saying it is in America's interest to behave rationally toward Tehran. He warned that any miscalculation would trigger a harsh and regret-inducing response. The remarks come amid heightened tensions between Iran, the United States, and Israel, as military posturing and warnings continue to escalate across the region. Meanwhile, a diplomatic shift from Tehran amid rising war fears. Iran orders talks with the U.S., even as tensions escalate. Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian has ordered the resumption of nuclear talks with the United States, signaling a possible diplomatic opening amid mounting regional tensions. Iranian news agency Fars quoted a government source confirming that Tehran has decided to open negotiations with Washington on the nuclear file, though no timeline for the talks has been announced. The move comes just hours after Iran's foreign ministry said it was finalizing the framework and methodology for negotiations, with officials indicating preparations are nearing completion. The diplomatic push comes against the backdrop of soaring Iran-US tensions and deepening unrest inside Iran. Widespread protests have erupted across the country, fueled by worsening economic conditions, with thousands reportedly killed in the unrest. U.S. President Donald Trump has issued repeated warnings to Tehran, saying time is running out as Washington ramps up its military presence in the region. Despite the buildup, it remains unclear whether the United States is preparing for direct military action against Iran. Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, has warned Washington against any attack, saying it would ignite a wider regional war in the Middle East. Khamenei has also described the ongoing protests as a coup, alleging foreign interference behind the unrest. As diplomacy and confrontation unfold in parallel, the region now watches closely to see whether talks can defuse a crisis or if tensions will continue to spiral.